Okay, we'd like to welcome Justin Thomas into the interview room. Justin, it's a nice feeling when you know that you've been to this tournament 8 times. You're a 2-time champion, 5 top 5s. Just talk a little bit about what this event means to you.
Yeah, I did not know it was that many times. That is a nice feeling. Yeah, I love this place. It's always a goal of mine every year to want to start the year in Kapalua. I think it's a fun, it's a relaxing, laid back week. The course is very receiving. You know, it's got big fairways, some big greens. It's not like you're coming here and grinding out a couple 73s or 4s. You know, it's a good opportunity to get the competitive juices flowing and try to get in contention to win a tournament like I've been fortunate to do a couple times here. And yeah, I always enjoy coming back.
How were your holidays, and what's the state of your game coming into the week?
The holidays were great. They were cold. I went to Chicago with my wife to see her family, and I thawed out, and here we are. But I feel pretty good about my game. Been working hard, and you know, now it's just about kind of getting the competitive rust knocked off as quick as possible.
All right, sounds good. We'll start questions with Cameron.
Hey, DT. 2 things. Are you a New Year's resolutions guy? And if so, what are they? And then what's the fun stuff that you do here? There's a bunch of fun stuff to do. What's the fun stuff you've done in the past?
Yeah, I like the resolution. I think it's... Yeah, the only very, very specific one I have is I want to read 1 book a month. I like to read, but I'm not consistent at reading. You know, I'll get into a book, and then whether it's sharing a house with some friends that we have and for a couple weeks in a row, and I don't touch it for a couple weeks, or I'm just not disciplined when I'm home to do it. So I really would like to do that. But in terms of fun stuff here, I'm really boring. I'm pretty much just kind of stick to my normal stuff. I mean, I would say go to the pool or the beach in a normal week, which we'll do here obviously, but I'm not going on any kind of crazy excursions or anything like that. I mean, I've enjoyed snorkeling some in the past, but you know, if you get those we've had a couple rough wind years, not last year, but the previous couple years, to where it's not too fun being out in the water when it's like that. So you got to pick and choose.
Okay, all right, Rob.
JT, with you being here so many times, is there any different feeling this week with this being the first of the designated events? A lot of really good players here. Yeah. As usual, 17 of the top 20, but is there any different vibe at all this week for you so far?
So far, I haven't noticed. I mean, obviously we have a few more people than normal, so I would say that makes it a little bit different. But yeah, I think it's a great start to even better things to come, and I know I'm excited. I think once the tournament gets going, and maybe come the weekend, guys trying to win a golf tournament, and like you said, 17 of the top 20 in the world. I mean, that's a big deal. So I think it's going to be a very, very exciting, great week.
Let's go to Doug.
What's the book of January, and does it have pictures?
The book of January doesn't have pictures. Thanks for that. Yeah, and it's about Buddhism. It's kind of about meditation and just getting it was recommended to me from a friend, and I don't know. I mean, I like self-help books. I can't read too many in a row, but yeah. So that's the one that we just started.
Is that the title?
Yeah, Why Buddhism is True.
Okay. As many times as you've been here, does it feel any different given the context of being the first elevated event, the first of a year like we've never seen before, that kind of thing?
Does it? Sorry, what? I didn't hear the beginning.
As often as you've been here, does it feel any different, just given the context of it being the first of the elevated event, and going into a year that's different than any other?
It doesn't feel that much different, to be honest. I think it's maybe come week's end it might, but just so far throughout the week, it hasn't felt any different.
Okay. Yep. Shed.
What's the, sorry to go back to the book thing, but what's your usual genre? Is it just self-help, or do you like fiction?
Yeah, I'm not. I have a hard time reading something if it's just not true. It's just not. I have a hard time with that. So I like some kind of stories. But yeah, like I said, I can't read too many self-help books in a row, but whether it's, about athletes or, I read a really good one a couple years ago about the Red Hot Chili Peppers lead singer. That was wild, fascinating. And I mean, again, I do not read very often. I don't read very many books. When I do it, I have enjoyed it.
We won't beat this horse anymore to death.
Thank you.
Your early schedule doesn't maybe include next week, correct?
It does not, no.
Now, how difficult is that, or maybe it's not difficult at all, to not go to a place where you shot 59 and however many under for the week, to say, is it almost like, I beat that course, I don't need to go back? It's
definitely not that. A lot of it is the same reason I miss a lot of tournaments that I do. It's just scheduling, and I feel like, once Torrey starts, it's pretty crazy through the players, potentially Tampa. Like it just is a lot of golf. And to me, it's like if I was going 2 in a row, had off for a week, but then it's not really a full week because you're going to the West Coast and it starts a day early. You're losing a day coming home from here. It doesn't necessarily feel like a week off, and I feel like it just would be putting myself behind the 8 ball, starting a very important stretch that is the beginning of the season, and there's no need to be really tired starting a stretch versus coming into it fresh. And yeah, that's the best golf I've ever played in my life, was at the Sony in 2017, and it hurts to not go back there, but unfortunately you have to miss some events that you want to play.
Last thing, and talking about New Year's resolutions, and we could talk about all those different things, but you just played Bahamas, but it is the start of a new year. When you start a new year, is there something in your golf game that you say, I'm going to do this better, or I'm going to work on this little aspect better? Is there something like that every year you do, and what might it be this year, if there is?
For me, I think, and I kind of made this, I don't know if you want to call it a dedication or just more thing with myself, but I really honestly just want to practice more. I feel like I practice really hard and I practice a lot, but I think even if it's the days that I'm off, just going to do something for an hour, going to do something for 30 minutes, using those days when I don't want to practice, when I feel like I can't get anything out of it, use that as a challenge of the days when maybe I get out to the golf course and I don't want to play. I get excited to come out here every week, but I'm still human. All of us are human, where we wake up and maybe don't want to do our job as much as other days. And I think those are the days that, Tiger had those days, but he would shoot 67 or 8 on those days. And I think I'm trying to use those days at home as challenge of like, okay, maybe when I'm out on the road and it's Friday of Kapalua and I wake up and I'm just cranky or I'm not like in a mood to play, and how can I flip a switch, something in my head, or what can I do to get myself focused? So it's just little things. For me, I feel like a lot of it's mental. If I can be in the right frame of mind and the right state of mind, I feel like I can manage my game well enough, no matter how I'm playing, within reason, to at least be in contention somewhat. So just trying to work on that.
All right, let's go to Billy.
Yeah, kind of piggybacking off it earlier, mentioned not playing the Sony. Do you kind of maybe worry at all with the way things are going to be now in the elevated events, where you mentioned you played well there and you had fun there, but the way it's set up, you might not be able to play? Do you worry about maybe the long-term future of some of these places or some of these tournaments you played in, like the Sony?
It could be. I think at the end of the day, a lot of the events aren't going to change drastically. They may lose 1 or 2 people here or there, but I think it's going to be a great opportunity for a lot of other storylines. And I think whether it's through a rotation of different events or guys winning for the first time and jump-starting their career. I think these events that are non-elevated are definitely understand that they're not elevated. I understand that, but they're still PGA Tour events. They're still going to have same purses that they have now. They're going to have opportunities for guys to play their way into Augusta, to play their way into the majors, to play their way into the events, whatever it is. And it is unfortunate for both the events and the way they're perceived, because they're still great events. I hope that that's not the case, of that they get hurt too bad, but at the end of the day, the guys' schedules, myself included, I don't think are really going to change that much. If Torrey Pines wasn't an elevated event and the purse was $50, like John Rahm's probably going to go play there because he's probably going to finish in the top 5. You know what I mean? Or you look at a place like Vegas and Patrick Cantlay, like he plays really well there. And if it's not an elevated event or whatever, there's a good chance he's going to go play. So at the end of the day, we feel like, or myself feel like I go to events where I feel like I have a chance to win. And I think that's the majority of the guys out here, their way of thinking about it.
All right, let's go to Rob.
Piggybacking on that a little bit, when you think of this event now as compared to what it has been, is this event, closing in on being, near the same kind of thing as maybe the Players, or is this event a little bit more prestigious than it was a year ago?
It's definitely more prestigious than it was a year ago. I think it's just due to the few amount of players. It's not possible to be at the same level of a Players or a Genesis or a Bay Hill or whatever, Memorial, whatever it is. But I mean, there's 17 of the top 20 in the world here. I mean, there's not very many tournaments the last 5 years, other than the majors and the Players, that can say that. And the tournament deserves all that respect. And I mean, it's so unique because you do have some unbelievable players in the past, whether they choose to not come or it's just they haven't qualified. Maybe they didn't win, but they could still be ranked 6th in the world. And due to the qualification process in the past, that you don't get to play Kapalua. And I think that's great for this event, and it's very deserving, and I think everybody that comes here for the first time understands why, or maybe I'm the only one that talks this great about it because I love this place, but why everybody talks so great about it, because it is a special event.
You're in favor of the top 30 guys who don't win coming here?
Yeah, I like that they clearly need to change the name of the tournament because it's not the Tournament of Champions anymore. I guess the Sentry Tournament of Champions and Tour Championship qualifiers. What are they going to say for the people that qualified on the first tee? I didn't think about that.
All right, Justin, we've got a special guest with us on the back row. Elliot has a question for you.
Hi, Justin.
What's up, Elliot?
2 questions. Going into the final round of the PGA last year, down 6, 5 shots, what was the mindset going into that final round? Like, did you think you could still win? Or, I mean, of course you want to have that thought of winning, but what was that mindset?
Yeah, it was very tough. It was a good question. It just, for me, it was more about staying in the moment and staying in the process and not getting wrapped up with how far back I was, but more so just go play my game. I was quite a ways back, but I didn't have a lot of people in front of me, so I knew that I could just... I knew I didn't have a very good chance to win. I know that I didn't, but I also knew it was a major championship, and everybody in front of me had never won one, and there's going to be a lot of nerves, myself included. So just try to make as many birdies as you can and chip away, and I was fortunate to have everything that happened happen.
My other question was favorite moment from the match.
My favorite moment from the match was probably on the last green when we beat them. That was probably my favorite one.
All right, let's go back up to Doug.
Go back to Elliot's question for a minute. If you go into that last round knowing it's a really long shot and stay in the process and keep your head down and go play, do you remember, was there a particular leaderboard that you saw that got you excited?
I didn't look at leaderboards on Sunday,
Saturday?
Which is strange for me, but I had not done well last season or last year looking at leaderboards and seeing where I was at. I felt like I pressed it. So I told Bones, I'm not looking at any leaderboards today. Let's just, not that he would ever give anything away, but let's just do our thing, stay in our little bubble and do that. But I did know when I made the birdie on 12, it was a different roar. It was kind of in that little, circle of coming up on 9 and 10, and I just birdied 11, and then I could just tell from the crowd there that I was I don't know where I'm at, but I know that I got a chance.
More noise, or in moments like that, more noise or more camera activity?
More noise, definitely more. It's a buzz. It's the energy that you can feel from the crowd. It's not just a nice birdie clap. It's let's nice birdie. this person has a chance to win, like go win kind of. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it was different.
Most people, or some people, not me of course, would say that's really dumb not to look at a leaderboard in the final round of a major. Do you see the pitfalls of not doing it?
I definitely do. It just was at the point that I was at. It kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about, mentally. It just I hadn't handled it well earlier in the season, so I clearly need to do something different, because any time that I was chasing or I feel like I had a chance to win and I would look at a leaderboard, I would play differently, or I would try to force the issue as opposed to just playing and trusting my ability and understanding that my good golf is probably going to be good enough or have a good chance.
So you're saying the first one you saw was that Big Daddy on 18?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think?
I mean, I just confirmed everything that I could feel energy-wise, that I had a chance and I should really make this putt on 18, which I didn't.
I had one more.
Okay, go ahead. Yep.
When you met Jill, or when you guys went out on your first date,
Mm-hmm.
what was her level of golf knowledge? And where is it now? And how did we get there?
I have a lot of funny stories about this. So her level of golf knowledge was very low. So she went to college with all my friends at Kentucky, and that's how I met her. Whenever I'd go back home, I'd visit my friends at UK, and she was best friends with all my best friends. So I met her, and she tells a funny story of earlier that year was when I think I'd won Malaysia or something like that, to where all my friends, being the good friends that they are, had the bar put the golf on because of the time change. It was in 12 o'clock, 1 in the morning, the golf was on. And she tells the story of, like, I was so confused why my friends wanted to put golf on at the bar at like 12 or 1 o'clock. Like, it made no sense. Like, she didn't really ask, but just was in her head was like, that's really weird. And then once we met and we became friends, she understood, okay, this makes sense. And to the level of her golf knowledge, I was texting with her today and told her that the Pro-Am might be a little bit longer because it's cart path only. And she asked, what is cart path only? So I had to explain cart path only to her. But she's learning. Her level of golf knowledge is perfect. Absolutely perfect.
By perfect, you mean?
Just enough and not too much.
Does she play?
No.
Have you ever had a club in her hand?
Yes.
Was she chasing you at the time?
No. Not at the time.
All right, I got time for two more quick ones. Cameron and then Dave.
JT, I know you're not playing next week, but you know Waialae quite well. I was wondering if you happened to catch a clip of Hideki's 3-wood that on 18 in the playoff that nestled up to sort of a kick-in range, and what your estimation of that shot is, the level of difficulty.
Yeah, I mean, I know Doug thought it was the best 3-wood he saw the entire season. He wrote about it, so I know that he saw that one, but I did. That was unbelievable, especially late in the day. He couldn't see anything. I can't imagine much better or more impressive way to win and close out a golf tournament, and also make it look so easy from 270 or whatever it was. So, yeah, it was very Hideki-like. It was impressive.
All right, one more in the back, and then Dave.
Hey, Justin. Brian with Sports Business Radio. Mental health is a much bigger issue than it used to be. I know you've talked about mindset. Is there anything specific that you do to stay mentally healthy? Do you have any rituals or things that you like to do to stay mentally healthy?
Just having your getaways, or having people to talk to. I mean, journaling helps me sometimes. Reading helps me. It definitely takes time and effort, and I think that's more than anything that I've come to realize. It's not something you just can turn a switch and be like, okay, I just want to feel better. You have to make an effort, for sure, and everybody's rituals or things that make them click are differently, I'd say.
All right, last one right here, Dave.
Yeah, I had to follow up on the working harder even when you don't want to and that sort of thing. And what brought you to that conclusion that you wanted to do that? Was there something that happened this past year? Was it not winning more than the one time? Was it a feeling of I could be great, I could be even better than I was when I was number one? Mm-hmm. What spurred you to think that way?
I think it's very clear. I'm very hard on myself. I expect a lot of myself, and I know that I can achieve a lot, but I'm also one of those people that doesn't really like if people complain about something that they can control. And if I'm, call it not driving it well, and I can look back and say, well, I hit drivers for 5 minutes last week, like that's nobody's fault but my own. It's not my dad's fault for not giving me the correct swing, whatever. Like I can't expect something just because I feel like I deserve it or because I feel like I can do it. It's just something where it's like, look, if I want to become better in every aspect of my game, then maybe I do need to practice 7-8 hours a day. Or it's like if I want to get better in that short range putt, 4 or 5 feet, then like maybe I need to hit 4 or 5 footers. And it's just little things of the difference of one thing that I may do one day could end up making the difference of me being comfortable out on the golf course, and the difference of me being comfortable could then equate to me just executing better and performing better, and which could equal more wins. And it could not be the answer, but it's something that I know I can't complain about something that I don't like about my own game if I'm not putting in as much effort as I feel like I know I can.
All right. Justin Thomas, thank you, sir.
Thanks.